story of how John Winchester met Mary Campbell, how looking for their fathers brought them together.
When I got back from Nam, my dad just disappeared, like vanished.
So I've just sat and watched the second episode of The Winchesters, the supernatural prequel spin-off series, and I'm here to have a little chat about this episode and my thoughts upon it. So let's get into it.
There's a monster out there putting people in danger. Let's track this thing down.
We're not here to play with zombies.
Nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. I just prefer the less talky, more punchy side of hunting.
This episode here is called Teach Your Children Well, following on from the events of the first episode and the box that they found. The Scooby Gang in their little hippie wagon heads off trying to locate some more information about the Akrida, this threat that they found out about in that very first episode. The threat that their fathers were fighting against, John's father and the Men of Letters. So this episode opens with these youngsters in the woods, and one of the youngsters sees his father, approaches him, and then gets consumed by viney things that come out of the father's arms and thusly vanishes. And there's a spate of these disappearances occurring. So our gang of individuals, Mary and John and the rest of the gang, have to investigate what's going on, and they join this sort of hippie commune where this stuff has been occurring. As this is going on, Ada Monroe, she goes off on a sort of side quests, has a little bit of chat with John's mother, played by Bianca Kajlik, who was introduced in the very first episode. Now, Bianca Kajlik is an actress that I'm very much aware of. She was in the comedy series Rules of Engagement that I did watch from beginning to end. So I always like it when there is an actress that I know that can draw me into something, and she's doing that here for this show, and I hope she sticks around for much of it. So the rest of the gang, like I said, they're investigating these disappearances, and they believe it to be down to a shapeshifter. Although they come to realise that they may be wrong with that. And it turns out to be this creature called a Latunda, which is like a woman who murdered her children, chopped them up and fed them to her plants, and now sort of haunts the woods and hunts other youngsters, young individuals who are naughty, shall we say, and continue this process of killing them. Obviously, the gang come together, they defeat her. But part of the defeat comes from the fact that Latunda actually goes after John in the form of John's mother, played by Bianca Kajlik, as I said. And this leads to him having to face up to some truths of his own of how he's been treating his mother and blaming her for the father going missing, where he wants to be angry at his father. He can't because his father isn't there. So he, in his relationship with her, is taking some anger out on her. And this obviously all comes to light through the fact that he's been taken by the Latunda creature, who's posing as he sees as his mother. Anyway, so they defeat her at the end. They save the other two kids that have gone missing. Happy days, all nice and all nicely wrapped up in this sense. And then at the end, when they're all together, we find out that they've got more of a sort of base of operation underneath the bookstore owned by Ada Monroe, in the place that she is, where she's been doing this research. So earlier in the episode, this Ada, she made herself a cup of tea that kind of puts her into a sort of state of where she is in a possessed state, shall we say. And while doing this, she wrote out all these manuscripts and this sort of thing to help to lead in the hunt for the Akrida. And how to work this sort of box that they discovered in that first episode, and we're sort of left there with this sort of Scooby Gang, shall we say, going off on their next adventure. Now, as an episode goes, I actually enjoyed it. Right now, I've watched the two episodes back to back pretty much, and to be honest, they're not bad. They sort of capture the feel of Supernatural and what Supernatural was, just with this different group of individuals. It's a different setup, obviously, because you've got a group as opposed to two individuals that are on the road. That being said, I don't know if the cast is as strong. It's early days. It's episode 2, so we've got to see. But I'm certainly growing towards some of the cast members rather quick. So it may be pretty good. This show may have something to offer if you are a Supernatural fan and if you like the stuff that Supernatural delivered outside of the primary cast, which were very strong in that. You know, Jensen Ackles was fantastic. Again, Jensen Ackles does do voiceover here in this episode, which is good to hear, and it gives you that connection to Supernatural and makes it feel like you are watching something that is truly connected. But yeah, not bad at all. I will be back for next week's episode, so hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode, and let's have a nice discussion about it. See you then. Take care and goodbye.
There's a whole other world out there, a dangerous world.
It's okay to be nervous.
The Winchesters.